It is Tuesday morning here at OG Foundation, working on the Admiral, which I figure counts as like the contiguous rock structure. I'm going to call that the Admiral. So it kind of ends over there and goes over to there. And then it's connected, and then there's an Earthship like helm, except it's not the helm anymore. Then there's a helm in front of it where we go through space and time. And then like living quarters in the corner and energy. Anyways, Tuesday morning, and this did very well for not pooling with water and the water all running off. And because we lost a bit of cement, you can kind of see the color of it there. But but it's not too bad. And this is all nice and solid, and because it got so wet, it's getting a really good long cure. It's like we're in a cloud here, and it's been raining for 2 days. And I want to get to a project, so what I'm doing is I'm going to mortar this arch in there, right against the wall there, and then just kind of glom the mortar over it like by hand. And the idea, there's the chickens out there, the five young chickens from this year, Sammy from last year, and then a young rooster from not much older, but... And there's 6 chicks in there, still staying warm in the incubator for now. More eggs to come. And so you can see where the cracks come out from the bottom in between the arch. So that means it's pulling away, and that's the point where it holds. And so the reason for doing the arch over it is to basically bridge the tension from one place to another, in a way. So the idea is that it's going to help the arches stick together. And yeah, I'm gonna got the mortar ready, so I'm gonna get started on that. So it's the end of the day, Wednesday. There was some good weather for doing mortar. So these projects here are turning this facade, which wasn't structural, into structural in order to reinforce the arches that are underneath, as well as the wall, which had developed some cracks. So this arch is basically from the peak of one arch to the peak of another arch, and will provide a lot of tensile strength. And the same thing with this piece of lath, which is now doubled up with lath underneath of it on the original, and going right over a big crack. So that one's got enough mortar on it to keep it in place for now. And then on a following day, when that's all solidified, I can move the things onto the other areas and push it against the wall and try to use minimal mortar to integrate the metal into the existing structure. But when I stand here on this flat space, it feels really solid. Once I get over here, it's a bit, it's hollow. But the way that the weight distribution is, this rebar will help. And what I've been thinking is I want to do this like a couple more times, that rebar arch. I want to add a rebar arch over there where it will span all of these cracks, and then I want to span from one rebar arch to the other rebar arch with the third arch in the middle. And that will really make this center column a strong point to be able to connect with the other columns, because we want them all to all stay together. So that if one of the columns moves, the rest of this is strong enough to distribute the weight to the other columns without just cracking. More rain. Got about a 4-hour window before more rain, so I'm going to try to get at least one bag on here, cover up a lot of this lath, work the arch in a bit more, and then cover up the last pieces of that lath for a finish coat. I just moved all of these things that are leaning against it to new positions so I can get more of this covered as well. I just got rained out from doing mortar, and I'm hoping it doesn't rain too much and wash out everything I did. But what we've got here is Sammy, who is the remaining girl from last year. And she is the mother of most of these chickies, if not all of them. And this is the first time she's seen them. So who knows if they'll even make the connection. Sammy, come here. See these chickies? They need to see their mama. Got 6 healthy chickies, sweetheart. Do you want to come see them? Alright, well, that's that. Check out the flagpole. I was thinking that I was going to do it for something else that was going to be the surprise, but I was like, well, first I got to put it up as a flagpole and see how it does. And I think I'm going to have to leave it like that. The other thing I was going to use it for will be complicated. Would be complicated. Well, if I use it, I mean, I don't need that for a flagpole. So it's really awesome. I got to think about this. And here's how it looks from out here. It is pretty epic. Hey girl, I was wondering where you were. I was worried about her. She's been out all night in the storm. She's probably got a nice dry space in that tire to sleep in. So yeah, that's pretty epic. I'm gonna tie it up. I'm not gonna like make it permanent yet, so I'm just gonna tie it there and leave it for now unless I get another option. The other option is I guess maybe a 20-foot 1.5 inch pole that will screw into the other pole, which would make it 10 feet taller than that, I think, because that's a 14-foot pole. No, it would be, the other one would be plus 6 and then plus another 4, so yeah, it would be 10 feet taller because it's a 20-foot pole, but it would be mounted directly in the coupling and the flagpole 4 feet higher, whereas this one is going to the ground and they have 4 feet overlapping. But this is pretty awesome. I'm happy with it. From this side, you can't even really, it's hard to get the whole thing. Yeah, there you go. So it's Thursday evening, and of round 2, this is the first pip on this one. You can see it's trying to work its way out. I haven't seen any other pips yet, but I think there's 3 duds and potentially 8 that might be alive in this round. It is Friday midday. I just did a supply run. Rebar was only $7.50 per piece. I was expecting it to be like 3 times as much, so I got a lot of rebar. It's exciting. And these eggies got some pips. There's at least 3 of them that have the pips, which is the, like when they start pecking their way out, when there's the first kind of out dent, not indent, but out dent. Then that's a pip. And this one here is getting really close to fully hatching. You can see it's working its way, pushing apart on that egg. And having a high humidity helps them to break free. The humidity is about 74%. Interesting how it seems flashing, because that's just because of the light and the frame rate. Because on the without the camera, it doesn't look like it's flashing. But it looks like these smaller eggs are the ones that I saw the pips on, which are all Sammy's eggs. The 1-year-old girl, or she's probably 1.5 now. But there should be 4 of the golden ones that could potentially hatch too. But it's possible the golden ones, that the girl laying those, she might not have been getting any action from the rooster, so they might not be fertilized. And it's hard to tell candling them, I don't know, but to see if they're fertilized or not. But anyways, this is where we're at. This one's gonna hatch pretty soon, I think. About 5 minutes after that last one, this one finally pushed its way out. Good job, chickie. It's Friday afternoon. We've got 2 chicks that have hatched so far. And these 6 are doing great. And it's been pretty rainy. So overall, we're pretty much conserving energy. So I just got back from a supply trip, and the rebar at Home Depot was only $7.50 per piece, which I don't know if I'm out of my mind, but I was expecting it to be like $20 each. I thought that was the price last time I checked, which is what lath and remesh is now. They each used to be around $10 or less, but they're still at that price. So anyways, because the steel was so cheap, I got 12 pieces of rebar, and I'm using the rebar to reinforce this front wall in additional efforts to tie it all together with tensile strength, so it addresses the cracking. So all I did is I leaned just some stuff up against the rebar, put the rebar up top, and then just threw mortar at it basically. And that's 4 pieces of rebar, and it goes around the edge. And we got this afternoon, and then tomorrow's a sunny day for mortar. So I'm going to get this tacked into place. And then, once that's solid and I can move those and add more mortar to solidify them, I'll add some more in this arch shape. So you see the outline of this arch here. So I'm going to do some more arches and really use this wall, make it very structural to help hold everything all together. So I'm really happy with how cheap the rebar was. I got like 3 times as much as I was expecting, and I know it's going to add a lot more strength to all this. So that's where we're at now, and yeah. This corner is basically the area that I've been most worried about as far as the wind, and so adding another piece of rebar here, double bent to tie into that heavy column, and then support this this exposed kind of wing arm thing of the facade. So I got this piece, the first bit of mortar securing it, and then the top beam, and then got one more on the bottom over here to get two things of rebar to reinforce this corner. And I'm just loving this. If it all stays in place, hopefully it will. I'm just loving the added strength that the rebar is offering, and yeah, I'm just want to put it everywhere. Also got the end of this piece of lath cemented in, and here you can see how I'm connecting it with the rebar. On the one side it's just tied on the outside, and then this side it goes behind and wraps around, and that'll all get mortared in, so that that piece of rebar which is going down and vertical will be connected to that almost 90-degree lath. then between that and the rebar there, it should make a pretty strong connection from this corner weight to this vertical support column that should help bear any extra weight from this column going down. Should end up getting borne and shared the load along this whole length all the way up to the corner now. Next round of rebar is, so we got extra mortar on the top beam, and so now I'm doing a bottom beam and then an arch between them here and an arch between them there. That arch intersects the first arch, but not this arch, but this one has a horizontal that connects them, and that horizontal will end there. So this rebar will end this section. I just got to get some mortar onto it, and then I'm going to add another piece of rebar in another section. So a final piece of rebar here is bent as almost a inverse arch, sort of, but connects up to the top rebar, counter concaves, if that's a term, with that arch, and then has lots of run over with this piece of rebar which is already in there. So that'll form a good bond between those two pieces. And then over here, whether or not this was a smart move, I don't know, but I used some old JB Weld, and I'm just gonna fucking try to weld it on, see if that works. I used a this kind of grout type thing on this tool, you know, to get all the paint off of the top of this, but it's drooping way further down than I was expecting. I didn't expect it to be so liquidy, but hopefully this is just about done drooping. And this is, it says cures in 6 minutes and makes it almost like steel, so I'm definitely going to have to use more. I've got a few more of those, and then I'll remove the paint further down where I do it. But I think I've got it with the right alignment with how I want it, and then after that I won't really be able to move it, and it should be essentially like welded in. So we'll see how that goes. End of the day, Saturday, and basically all of the rebar has some coverage. So you can see the 1, 2 arches, and then the beams on top and bottom, and then all the way over to that one in the corner. So there's maybe 4 or 5 bags of mortar or something, and then on this side it wraps around those two, currently end right there. But basically it makes this whole vertical wall be able to bear a significant amount of tensile strength. So I'm really happy with it, and I think that's about it for today. Also, I managed to get a paint can on the top of that by bending it and then using a piece of rebar to fish it on. So that should be a good end cap, because I was worrying about cementing this in and then water getting in there. But with that end cap, there shouldn't be any rain, so I can not worry about cementing this side in until I can get up there and figure something else out to cap the end of it. And here, look at this, I got a continuous bead of JB Weld going all the way down, even behind these ropes, because of the way that it flows all the way down. It's like magic. This rope was on when I applied it, and I used a little piece of tin. Obviously I couldn't get it down there, though I did try at the very bottom. I tried, but my piece of thing was too wide. I got the little grinder in there to take the paint off, but it's just like wild how that worked out to go behind the string. And in a couple places the string has steel on it now, but and then in the top it gets a little bit wider, and so it was flowing from the top. So I'm gonna have to do another application, and then I need to do something on the back side. But this is like solid part of the structure. It's now officially part of the Admiral. It's even got a helmet. What do you think about this arch by the staircase here to connect the end of that one to this one? What do you think, girl? If I made it wide enough and the cat could get across it, she'd like it. But I kind of like the arch there, and I like how that would give a more connection between the two spaces. It's a bit late on Saturday, but I made the most of it. Got lots of mortar done today, working all day. And after checking out this arch right here, I decided that, yeah, I want it. So, I just made another little batch, mortared in the ends of this rebar with the addition of little like 2 by 3 inch pieces of lath to help the wet mortar cling a little bit. And this arch is now, it's all there unless it falls down in the night, but hopefully it cures enough before the rain. We should have days of rain, and this is going to be a solid part of the structure. At some point, I might have already said this, but that makes me think about the potential of doing a second level on this gate tower here. But future projects. So now, with this arch here, you come down this way, and it's sloped ramp. And then here where the staircase is, here's the arch, and it is just tall enough where it doesn't get in the way. And then looking back, here's how it looks on this side. I like it a lot. And once I finish with what I'm going to do with it, it's going to add a whole structural element as well, connecting basically this whole structure with the end of this wall, which makes it extra secure. Sunday morning, and the arch that I started to mortar in last night did not fall, so you can see better in the light here how the rebar kind of is just got a little bit of mortar on it, and that tiny little bit of lath helps to bring the mortar up along the length of the rebar. Similar with this one, so the rebar was just kind of balanced, and then the mortar rocks it in. So there's that arch. I'm going to end up connecting lath and shaping that with lath and mortar, but I'm going to give it more time to solidify, and I might just add a tiny bit more mortar onto it today to help it get even stronger in there. And now that it's daytime, you can kind of see how all of yesterday's rebar projects fared. So there's the 3 arches. The third one is got mortar the previous day, so it's not all wet. And then the top and bottom beam. So all of that gives tensile strength, and then tying it all into the corner here. So my goal today is, we got about till I think 2 or 3 when there's supposed to be rain. So I'm trying to go quick. And I want to add more cement to this with remesh added in, so there's tensile strength. So raise the height, add remesh so on the top layer, so that'll connect it even better to the rest of the dome. And because I'm cementing in the bottom of this beam here, before I do that, I'm adding more JB weld. And so I took the rope off. As you can see, I just got it bungeed up top in case something happens. So I got the JB weld all to the bottom, and then I'm doing my best to get the back side as well, at least on the bottom, which is going to get mortared. So I'm working on the JB weld now. That's some quick set, so within 6 minutes I should be able to kind of work it. Might need to do one more thing of a similar kind of JB weld product that Gorilla makes. And then once I get all the JB weld on and I'm confident in the steelifying aspect of it, then I'm going to spray it with Rust-Oleum. Probably just a clear Rust-Oleum to limit the rust potential. And then that's all the prep work, and then I'll prep the existing cement and get the remesh up here to be able to do the cement pour to expand how big the flat area is and give even more tensile strength kind of connection to the dome. And the remesh should also help to get around this support column, which does help the wall as far as going this way and that way, but doesn't support it going that way because it's not solid cement. There's a piece of insulation in the middle. So to get around that, right at the bottom of where the level is, I want to get, there is a piece of rebar under there, but I want to get remesh into that little narrow spot to really reinforce the bottom and help tie it into this piece of rebar there that I added. So that's the goal for today, and hopefully I can get it all done and have the cement dry enough before the rain comes in the early afternoon. So busy day, Sunday. So this is roughly what I meant. Got it Rust-Oleumed up so it shouldn't rust where it gets mortar or cemented in. And this is how the remesh will lie, and the remesh gets some tensile support past that, so it's not really as wide as I would like past that, but anyways, it's as good as it gets. What I'll probably do is I'll cut the last 3 boxes off here, and I'll double reinforce right across there, and then this extends the tensile strength over to there. But before I can get to the cement, I need to do a batch of mortar and really, hi girl, we see you. Yes, there you are, loud kitty. So I need to do a batch of mortar and work it underneath the bottom of this as well as I can, because just pouring cement on there will mean that all of the pressure is on this one point right at the edge of the beam. So I'm going to make a small batch of mortar, work it under there, and then the rest of the mortar I'll put on that arch over there. And then once that's in, I'll put the remesh back in place and then get ready for the cement. I don't need this mortar to set before doing the cement. I just need to get it up in there, and then the cement will bond with the mortar, which is up in there. So that's alright now. Just so you get an idea what it looks like halfway into the cement. So I got the mortar worked in underneath. I just applied the first bucket of cement after wetting all of the concrete. I confuse cement and concrete a lot. So I just poured concrete, which has rocks in it, and after wetting all of the cement that was already in place, all of the hardened rock that's already in place. And what I've done here is I'm going to add this lath here. It will be even more support, but more importantly, well, it'll also be for the aesthetic, so that when you look at the edge of the castle, you don't see the thinness of that wall. And so it'll make the wall look as wide or wider than the crenellations or the merlons on top. and but it will support that wall this way as well. So that's just about 1 bag of concrete. I'm going to do 3 bags of concrete now. I've got 3 more. And these, and then work the concrete in around the lath. And that'll be all I can add before it's going to want to start draining, like the extra water is doing now. And it won't fully cover the remesh, but it'll be enough to hold it in place. So I'll get some on that side of the reinforcement, some in the middle river dam, and then some there. 3 bags. So I ended up doing all 6 bags of concrete that I have. And then it started raining, which is like a worst case scenario here because the project is like in line with the water drain. But here's how it's looking with 6. Had a couple problems, but in general should be all good. I just got to pull that fence post pounder and the cinder block out and fill those gaps, hopefully, well, at some point anyways. And yeah, anyways, it's done, pretty much done, close anyways. So we've got a bit of a disaster here. The rain is here and the cement is not dry, so it's a bit of a problem, and this is what I'm trying to do, and I'm gonna have to probably do some other stuff, but this is what happened. We pushed it too close to the rain. More rain. And so I got towels and clothes and stuff to fill the gutter so it doesn't come in. Got more blankets for my little fort here. And I'm gonna do an anti-rain dance. But if I don't get rain, it's looking pretty darn good under there. But if I get rain, it gets ruined and washed out. So I'm gonna do everything I can, including lots of herbal sacrament to ward off the rain clouds. Rain is continuing. I'm being punished for my ambition, going for 6 instead of 3, and then messing with the cement for so long to get it all perfect, only for the rain to come and wash it all away. So I'm fighting against that potential by toweling up the gutter and squeezing it into the bucket and putting other things in the way, so that the cement doesn't get a river running through it and all soaking wet. Round 2 of attack upon the Admiral. This ship at sea must be defended from the sea attack, the storm, the sea from the sky. And back to squeegeeing out the water from the gutter to keep this great corner piece from washing away. I don't know. Keep on going. It's about 4:30. I think we're about an hour and a half, 2 hours into this here rainstorm. It's not that intense, but essentially I just keep wringing that towel out into this bucket and then just like dam up around here to keep the water out. And you can see right there's what it looks like with water damage, and then in here how it's all looking pretty darn good because it's all pretty much protected. There's a few raindrops, but it's still a long way from solid, and there's more clouds on the horizon, so just staying out here and manning the towel, keeping the vibes as high as possible to ward the clouds away. 6:30 now. I've been battling the rain, living off of only chocolate for hours. It's amazing I'm surviving. But I've done a pretty good job of keeping the water off of that. But the rain doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. But, yep, this is what I'm doing. I just spilled soup on myself. So it appears I'm losing the battle with the storm. It's quite rainy. And it's just about dark. So I'm gonna throw in the towel pretty soon. Which is funny because I'm actually already threw in the towel. And now I'm manning the towel. So basically, I keep squeegeeing out these towels. Got some hot soup for myself. And you can see water is starting to get in there, but the longer it has, the more it solidifies. And the less of it is going to wash away. But this is how it looks now. We'll see how it ends up looking tomorrow. So it was raining consistently until like 1 a.m. this morning. I tried to make a dam with this stuff. Look, all this red is coming off of this blanket. We'll see how it, how the blanket fort fared at protecting it. Oh! Actually, surprisingly, it turned out quite well. You can see from the red exactly the course of the runoff. So I sloped it very well to run off. It's smooth there. The main damage is here. I put these down to protect from raindrops. But here we got some raindrop damage on the cement. But overall, it turned out exceedingly well. Just about all the remesh is covered. Pretty much all the cement is okay. I'll just have to do a little bit of mortar over it for some edges and stuff. And then we got remesh sticking out here, which I'm going to tie some rebar into over there later today. So it felt like a discouraging victory last night, giving up. But I stayed in the fight long enough to let all of this area where the runoff goes harden enough so that when the water ran off of it, it didn't take it all away. So pretty good result despite being overly ambitious and having to fight the rain for several hours. I'll be able to get more done today. So my last two pieces of rebar, I arched along that and then put it in that valley there. And the idea of that is to create tensile strength based off of those structures as an anchor to prevent this from going that direction, this direction, north. Whereas all of this only prevents it from going west. So the two rebar reinforcements at a 90-degree angle should be able to prevent this column from sagging out in case the column underneath sinks down. So I'm gonna get some mortar on that. It's another day like yesterday, rain around 3, and so I'm just gonna do a lot less and then leave it. So it's Monday afternoon. The rain has arrived. Here's how this is looking. Pretty good. And I got the first mortar on these two pieces of rebar, which will anchor this structure in this way. And I'm just going to cover it with some plywood. This will be the last video for this week's proof of work for Allodium. And thanks for watching. I'll be back next week. Get one more shot to end the weekly video. So here we've got the 6 chicks who were born in the first batch of eggs. And then there's 3 additional chicks who were born in the second batch of eggs, who are maybe 5 days behind or something. And so I had them separated, but now they're all together, so you can kind of see the difference between the older ones and then the younger ones. The 2 on the left on the bottom are younger, and then the other ones are older. And they're all doing really good. That thing there is a little radiant heater thing for them to go underneath. And they've all managed to get out of the box and explore around the living room. Well, not all of them, but a good number of them. And the chickies are all getting along of the different ages, and all doing good.